Back with us today once again is Karla Fales from Carewell Services Southwest. We've had something of a two-part discussion about some special forums coming up soon that will focus on seniors and fraud and exploitation and things of that nature. This is a subject with which you deal just about every day, probably. Unfortunately, yes. If not every day, at least once a week, we get a call regarding a situation and folks asking questions about, is this right? Mm-hmm. And so we're there to help out. Well, it's good that they're asking, I suppose. Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's part of the focus of these programs that we're having is sometimes people don't ask the questions or they don't know the questions to ask. Sometimes it can be folks that are caregivers or friends or neighbors. And so the events, even though sort of targeted for older adults, we really want as many people as possible to attend and hear this information because with fraud and financial exploitation being the largest growing form of abuse of older adults, it is something that we need to give some attention to. Boy, so exploitation could come by way of a friendly face. It is often by way of a friendly face, and sometimes that face is related to you. So about 90% of the abusers are family members or trusted individuals in their sphere of influence. 2/3 of that 90% are adult children or spouses of the individual, and so that's really unfortunate. There's probably only 10 to 15% of the exploitation that happens by strangers or long distance, like the lottery scams and the email scams and things like that. 90%? 90%, yeah. It's kind of a disappointing number. Sure and is. When you think about the fact that 1 in 10 Americans age 60 plus have experienced some form of abuse, 1 in 14 cases are ever reported. In the financial exploitation world, only 1 in 44 cases are ever reported. And so when we say there's been 5 million seniors who have experienced some form of abuse, you kind of have to do some math there, which I'm not capable of doing, to figure out, okay, how many people are we really talking? So, and it's not just, we think, financial exploitation, people think of the, what ends up on the front page of the news and that type of stuff. This is the, hey, Grandma, can I borrow your credit card just for emergencies? One of the ones we've been working with is, can I borrow $50,000 and I'll pay you back as soon as I close on this house? Oh. Yes. And that closing probably took place already. Oh, yes. So, yeah, I'm still stuck on the 90%. And then, as you pointed out, what did you say, 1 in 44? 1 in 44 are ever reported. Scammed financially. Yes. And so that is probably a couple of things going on there. Embarrassment maybe, or they don't want their loved one to get in trouble. Right, and, that is a huge influencer of it, and then there are folks that the thought of reporting and going through that process is not only embarrassing, but they don't know how to ask for that help. If, for instance, they've, given that grandson their life savings, how are they going to afford an attorney? Is it criminal? Is it civil? What do I need to do? And so that's why we have folks at our office that work through some of those questions. We have some tremendous local partners in attorneys that help us when we have those questions. We'll talk to them and figure out, okay, do you have a potential remedy? We have great partnerships with both probate court and the prosecutor's office who will help us work through some of those situations. Judge Jackinette has done some really good work in that area, spotting this type of stuff and that type of thing. So, and that's what we need. It's that old concept of it takes a village to identify, to find remedies, and to protect people and prevent. Karla Fales from Carewell Services Southwest. They have an event coming up soon, a couple of them actually, that will provide information on avoiding exploitation, protecting your identity, fraud, that sort of thing. And it's particularly for seniors, but anybody can come, as you mentioned. When are they and where? The first event is September 21st at Dark Horse Brewery in Marshall. Okay. We'll have a free meal, and Dark Horse is sponsoring it along with Elder Law of Michigan. And we'll get to hear from Ron Tatro from Elder Law. We'll talk about how to plan to not become a sitting duck. Okay. And then the second one is September 28th, and that's Money Smart for Seniors, sponsored by Old National Bank, and it will be at Squirrel Hollow Golf Course in Battle Creek, and both events are at 5:30.
All right, and so there's no charge to come to those.
No, thankful for Old National Bank and their sponsorship of this event, as well as Ganton Senior Living and Dark Horse and Squirrel Hollow.
Okay, and so do you need a registration or anything?
Yes, folks could call our Divine Miss Debbie at the front desk. She will get them registered. That number is 966-2450, and we kind of need to know the Monday before the event so we can plan for the food.
Okay, and we'll repeat those dates and locations here coming up shortly. So is this a significant problem, or more so because we have more people who are entering into this age where folks can be vulnerable?
Most definitely. I mean, we've heard the statistic, can't say that word, especially in the morning. There's 10,000 people a day who turn 60. We've heard that number, you know, the baby boomers, all of that. What we don't talk about as much is the fact that we now have one of the largest growing segments of our population is the 85 and up. Mm-hmm. And so that presents some issues just in terms of the fact that they may have cognitive impairments. We all lose about 30% after age 60. Sorry. But that can play a role, as well as the fact that they may need assistance. And so they have to have someone they can rely on. And if they trust the wrong person, that can put them in a vulnerable position.
Right. Okay. So I suppose, given what we've talked about, that only a fraction of these things get reported, and we're talking about 90% of these cases are people we know and trust. Mm-hmm. How do you combat that?
Well, events like this is one of the strategies that we're using, because many times folks need encouragement, they need support to do that reporting. And so the neighbor who talks to them, you know, every once in a while and starts to notice changes, you know, maybe the yard's not as kept. There's some challenges there. Organizations, banks, businesses that, you know, people used to pay their bills on time, and now all of a sudden we're missing a few payments. Mm-hmm. Can be a lot of things going on, but, you know, that's one. A new friend, you know, a new best friend that moves into the house, starts driving their car, somebody who hadn't been in their world of influence for a period of time. And so churches, folks at church notice those type of changes as well. And so that and other caregivers, those are the ones that we're trying to connect with. And we say, you know, bring your mother, your brother, your sister, your uncle, come to the event, enjoy the free food because it's going to be good. There might even be a cash bar, just saying. But we want them to hear the information because they're the ones that are going to listen to the person, look at stuff and say, something's not right here. Right. And then they can either report it, they can call our agency, or help the person make that connection.
So let's talk a little bit about these two different sessions, mm-hmm. and there's obviously two different focuses here, right? There
are two different topics. So the one on the 21st at Dark Horse will feature Ron Tatro from Elder Law of Michigan. And they're going to talk about that whole concept of how do you prevent things like identity theft, and what tools and resources do you need to have in place in order to avoid becoming a sitting duck. I'll also be presenting at that. We have a resource packet that we're giving to people. The second event will feature Joe Kaiser from Old National Bank, our tremendous sponsor, and that program is entitled Money Smart for Seniors. So that's going to talk about all those nuances of banking and finances and that type of thing. You know, how do you prevent putting that child on your checking account? Mm-hmm. When somebody needs to help you with your finances, you need it to be convenient, you need it to work, you need to have all the things in place. So he's going to talk a little bit more about that and a little bit about identity theft and how to work with your local bank to protect yourself and put some of those things in place. So the second event will feature Joe.
All right. And, you know, there's that old joke, I guess it's a joke, you know, why do you rob a bank? Because that's where the money is. You know, so I presume that this is the same this is the same focus. I mean, why are seniors targeted? Because that's where the money is, right? 77%
of the wealth is held by individuals over the age of 65.
Yeah, well, they've worked for it, so Correct. They have it.
Yep.
And so a way to get to them is to gain their trust and try to create yourself a little pipeline. That's what's happening here.
That's exactly what's happening. We see it so often. You know, I have someone who helps me, and that help becomes more and more personal and targeted, and the trust builds, and, you know, then the card comes out, and then we're off to the races, so to speak.
Right. And you probably deal, too, with situations in which family members are not precipitating this problem, but are trying to figure out how to stop it when someone befriends their loved one.
And it is tough. I have a friend, was a long-distance caregiver, other side of the state, that happened to them. There was the home health aide who, over a series of years, now she's on documents. Now she has the key to the house and the family doesn't, and that type of stuff. And so, that gets really tough, particularly if it's a long-distance situation. And so, the statistics are scary when you think about 90%. Everybody goes, "It's not me." That's a national statistic. We see that locally. I'd like to say it's as malicious as it sounds. Sometimes it isn't. It develops over time, and then those opportunities present, and it just kind of gets carried away. So we look to those family members to identify those folks that shouldn't be in the picture.
Yeah.
And it's, usually a brother, a cousin, and that's fine. That just makes it more difficult to work through the details. So
if you're in a situation like that where you or potentially can see that someone has befriended your loved one, and now they've done as you said, they have a key to the house, and now they're on the documents and things. What do? Do you call 911? I mean, how does this work?
Yeah, if it's you can call APS and report it there. We also tell folks, because exploitation is a tough one. There's a lot of nuances to it, and there's always 6 sides to the story. And so we encourage folks that they can give our office a call. We'll listen to the situation. If they allow us, we'll contact the people involved, and then we can hand them off to our partners. Many times that means we're telling them, you need to make an APS report, because that starts the process and it starts the paper trail. Otherwise, we circle some folks in. Last week, the grandson borrowing $50,000, we engaged one of our community partners to say, can you just talk to her about it, see what her options are? And so we kind of help navigate them. Mary Peterson, that works in that area, is very influencing.
Okay, it's good to have those
She's
allies.
fixed some things for us when, and sometimes that's all it is if someone draws the line that says, don't go over this line, it's wrong. Sometimes they'll back off, and then we can help work with the individual and put the safety guards in place that they need to. So you kind of need those influencing individuals in this situation.
All right, so with regard to that, that's a whole other discussion, I suppose, with Carewell Services, but those options are there. Meanwhile, you have these informative sessions coming in the next several days where you can have a free meal and listen to these presentations. So let's repeat the dates and locations, Karla, if we can. September
21st at Dark Horse Brewery in Marshall at 5:30, called Don't Be a Sitting Duck. The second one is the following week, September 28th at 5:30 at Squirrel Hollow Golf Course, Money Smart for Seniors. And they can come to both events if they want. So I just took care of dinner 2 weeks in a row for them.
Very nice. Thank you, Karla. We'll stay in touch, too, as these events come. You'll probably do more of these.
Yes.
And this isn't a subject that goes away too often, so we'll stay in touch on all that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karla Fales with Carewell Services Southwest.